An investigation has been launched after some tenants in Maida Vale who live in social housing were blocked from accessing a neighbouring garden in a multi-million-pound housing development. Westminster Council are looking to see if that breaches planning permissions, although the developers believe it doesn't. Here's Brihony Williams.
Angry and frustrated.
It feels really upsetting, morally, it's not where we want to be, this is London, and this is like open discrimination.
Ahmed Ali and his family have lived in social housing at Westbourne Place for 2 years. It's a mixed development with private rentals too. He showed me a gate to an area those living in social housing can't access. Do you want to try it?
Yeah. No access.
Westminster Council has started an inquiry to determine if planning permissions have been breached. It's one of 4 bodies involved in running the property. Redrow, the developer, says the gates aren't to keep residents separate and the limited amenities are because Octavia Housing, who are responsible for council tenants, sought to minimise service charges for their residents. But Octavia says access to the garden was never on offer and feels the restrictions are wrong. Pinnacle Property Management, who run the private side of the site, says it manages it in accordance with arrangements agreed between Octavia and Redrow. Well, I've just spoken to a man who lives in the private part of this development. He didn't want to come on camera, but he told me that there is a separate residents group who are discussing this matter. And he didn't even know until a few days ago that these gates were locked to those who live in the social housing. Mr. Ali sees the gates as lines of segregation. He'll have to wait for the council's investigation to conclude to find out whether he can walk in the garden he can see from his flat. Brihony Williams, BBC London, Maida Vale.